Hey, Build Show. Guess what? Yes, lesson number 2 in ninja training. All right? Now, today we're going to talk about floor framing. I need my stick because I just came in the walk out of the basement. We have 10-foot tall foundation walls here. Plus, we haven't insulated or cast the slab yet here, so I'm about 11 feet down from the bottom of the joists here. As you know, we're calling this our offsite build project. Now, the reason we call it offsite build, you can see we have superior walls. All of these foundation walls were precast somewhere in eastern Pennsylvania, trucked up here, placed in their proper location. But all of the floor framing, the wall framing, and the roof trusses were manufactured and prefabricated by a company, Harvest Homes. They're in upstate New York. They're about, 20, 30 miles west of Albany, which puts them on probably a little over 200 miles from here, right around 200 miles. So they built everything in their factory there, trucked it out here, and set them into place. So today we're going to talk about floor framing. Now, before we talk about the specifics, one of the things I want to tell you that I really like about Harvest Homes was they didn't have a recipe for what they do. It doesn't mean that they're not smart or they don't have it figured out. My point is they will frame whatever your recipe wants to be. When I was out there, I went out and I visited their facility. I went exactly where, and we saw actually some of these floor assemblies actually get made while we were out there. But going to them, the gentleman Lance at Harvest Homes simply said, well, what do you want for floor joists? What do you want for floor sheathing? Because they're just going to acquire the ingredients and put together the assembly the way we want it out here at the job site. They're not putting together their assembly and telling us, well, that's the way we do it, right? So we went to them, we told them we wanted open web trusses. Now, these are Triforce, right? They're made in Canada, just outside of Quebec. And the beauty of Triforce is that there's two things about them that I really like. One, they're a trimmable floor joist. So you can see here, down on the ends, that's a solid eye joist up there. And that gives you the ability to trim that outer edge, upwards of a foot or so, to get it to fit whatever situation it is that you need to fit. And then all of this space that's left over is basically the open web truss. The second thing that I really like about the Triforce is, notice all of their joints are finger jointed and glued, right? There's no metal truss plates here. Now, why does that matter? Well, if you're the plumber and you're pulling PEX line, or you're the electrician and you're pulling your wire, you don't have that sharp edge of a truss panel or those prickly, little studs that stick out of the truss panel that can catch a wire or catch a pipe and gouge it, put a hole in it, tear it, whatever the case is. In this case here, you don't have any sharp edges there to pull, and we have some adequate space. Now, we're not running a main trunk through there, I get that, but we can run probably upwards of about a 6-inch round duct through this system here. And as far as electrical and all of our plumbing, that can certainly be raised up in there and put up in there. So a large portion of the basement here will be finished. You can see we basically have bay 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? These bays are typically somewhere around 20 feet plus or minus in this direction. This direction here, they're probably close to about 40 feet in width. And you can see we have our 2 lolly columns. We have a triple 9.5-inch LVL there. Now, could we have taken one of these columns out or both of these columns and dropped that? Yeah, but we're probably talking like a 20 or 24-inch LVL there. And to do that means that we're going to have this big drop in the ceiling. And, a lot of these columns are just going to get buried in the wall. There are a couple that'll be open, but we're also talking that we're probably somewhere in excess of 3,000 feet for basement space down here. So, you know, we have a really good layout here. So those tuck up in there. And then, so we have these 3 beam lines, real simple beam lines. They capture the 4 bays. Everything is going side to side on the house here. And you can see here, you know, they have this blocking up there. Well, when they build these panels there, you remember, one of the things about offsite is you can build it nice and true in the factory, but it has to leave the factory table, get transported to a truck, get transported via truck here, get lifted by a crane, dropped in place, and you still want it to be nice, tight, square, level, plumb, all of those things, right? So, putting in some blocking here, that just basically adds to some rigidity. Can a plumber, because we set this on top of this now, the plumber can come and if they want to hack at through some of that blocking, they certainly can to get their services across that beam. We dropped all 3 of these beam lines with the intention that we could then, after things were placed, we can push out that blocking and run the services over the top of the beam, basically keeping a nice clean ceiling level and having everything happen inside that floor frame. So anyways, it's a beautiful basement, 10 foot tall. I mean, if we had to drop this down a little, certainly no crime. The days of, you know, the basement I grew up in was, I don't know, I was probably bumping my ceiling or my head on the ceiling joist in about 7th grade. So yeah, those days are pretty much long gone. So anyways, let's head back to the studio. We'll get out Big Red. We'll get out some plans, some details, drawings, whatever it takes. We'll continue the discussion. I'll see you back at the studio. All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that. What a neat package or assembly there. You know, it's the first time I've ever done those floor assemblies where they flew them in. But, you know, the great thing about Harvest Homes was we didn't have to change our recipe as a construction assembly. They just, you know, oriented the way they do things to the materials that we wanted. So go give them a look, Harvest Homes. But yeah, what a great system. Got Big Red in hand. Got some drawings down here. Let's continue the discussion. All right, so I grabbed, this is a partial plan of the first floor framing plan. Yeah. So, framing plans. They're just basically the structural version of in plan where you're outlining all of the different structural elements that make up the floor there. So we walked from the underneath, so the plan is actually looking down at the floor frame. When we were there walking around in the basement, we were looking up at it. But the first things that we noticed were there were columns in the basement, and you can see those 2 right there. They're called out on the foundation plan, and we have a couple here too, but stay up here. So the 2 columns, and then those are carrying this beam that goes across here. And you can see that's called out as 3 9 1.75 by 9.5 inch LVLs, and those are dropped. And what I mean by dropped is the beam is down here and the floor joists sit above it, and then the floor frame, right? Flush would be that the beam was up in here and the top was flush with the floor joist. So this gives you the luxury of running utilities across this space nice and easy. And then we were able to do that quite easily because our basement walls were 10 foot high, right? So even the bottom of a 9.5 inch beam at 10 foot, it's going to finish out at like 8 foot 8 inches or something. So it's going to be still pretty darn high. So no worries there. And if you saw the floor plan overlay on this, you would see that a bunch of the walls kind of align with that beam, bury the columns in the wall, etc. Now, we have the beam here, we have our foundation wall here, and we have another beam down at the bottom there. So basically, our floor joists are called to span from foundation wall to beam. The structural annotation goes like that. That suggests the direction of span, right? These are called out. These are 14-inch Triforce engineered wood floor joists. So 14 inches deep with a 3/4 inch Advantech. And note that it's called nailed and glued on there. So if I have the Triforce, I'll just draw a really quick section here. So it looks something like that in section. If I take that Advantech and I put adhesive here, what I've done is now coupled the performance of the floor sheathing to the joist, right? So when that joist, I'm trying to find a good place to draw this. So if I have that joist out like this, right, and it's supported here and here, and it wants to bend, right? Well, that bend is being resisted with the help of that glued joint. It doesn't allow as much deflection as if they were free and slipping across each other. So what you're getting there, basically, I call it composite action, right? That's when two materials, in this case the floor sheathing and joist, are acting in unison to battle deflection or carry that load. So again, 3/4 inch nailed and glued on there. Now remember, in the Triforce, when we were there, we talked about it, you know, part of it is solid and then it goes, you know, the joist goes, and you have this solid piece. So the question is what side do we want to put that on? I always provide direction. You can see here, trimmable end, and that's what it is. That solid piece, that allows you to trim off a portion and cut that off and size this appropriately. Now, they did all of these at Harvest Homes, and I'll write their name down here, Harvest. Harvest Homes is where we had all of the off-site fabrication to these panels, and so they were basically, you know, coming in at, I don't know, I think it was like 8 feet, 4. So, you know, that's a panel, that's a panel, and basically this was all one panel that they made, and they would bring that in, and so you'd have these 8-foot panels kind of marching across here and being dropped in. But I called for the trimmable end there because chances are we probably don't have a whole lot, any plumbing that we might have upstairs, and I think the only areas maybe in here, chances are the plumbing is coming from somewhere down here and going that way, so it's going to be in the right joist bay and get up there. Now here, where we can run through the floor joist, we might in fact have a piece of plumbing that goes up and wants to turn the corner right quick, just inside that beam to run down here. So I put the solid ends on the outside wall there. So couple things to notice. I call out for an engineered wood band, but where we're parallel to the floor joist, I call out for a double edge band. I typically put in the dimensions here. These are just bigger overall kind of center of beam. You can see this span is 18'9". This lower span is 18'2". We're basically 18 feet out to out on this side here. And then again, more of those dimensions traced around. And then lastly, solid blocking at midspan. You can see my structural engineer, he loves to have us put this in. And 18 feet, we start getting up to like 22 feet plus, he'll actually have us put 2 bands of it in. But here he was comfortable with just 1. And composite action is the fact that the joist wants to span this way, but the minute I put that blocking in, it helps in this direction too. So you get, it's not that one-way action, it's actually 2-way action through that system. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that, learned a little bit something about composite action there, why I put the solid ends on that side. Kudos to Harvest Homes. It was a really actually very positive experience working with them out there. So they did a great job, working in collaboration on this. Perfect teammates. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that. Until next time. All right, there you have it. End of discussion. But we can continue some thoughts. Go check out Steve Basic Architect on the Build Show Network. A couple hundred videos there in my catalog. Go check them out. Check out all my colleagues. They're all doing really fine work, and it's all current stuff. None of this stuff is archival footage. This is stuff that we're all doing right now, every day. So go check it out. If you're looking for more, Steve Basic Architect, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Yeah, I'm out there putting up stuff when I can of stuff we're doing every day. So you're getting the latest version of what I'm doing. So go check it out. And if you're still looking for more, Unbuild It Podcast. Yeah, Jake and Peter and myself, we get together and we talk up buildings. So anyways, go enjoy that. Until next time, I'm Steve Basic Architect. This is the Build Show Network. Long live our buildings.